Colonialism by Sinclair. The alien creature had trapped Commander Jim in this small storage chamber at the rear of the ship. All the rest of the crew, all 20, all female, gorgeous, and at least 20 years younger than Jim, and all also his tradwives were dead. The creature had killed them in ways Jim couldn't believe had happened. 2 of them had just burst into flames. 1 seemed to have been turned to stone. Some had been apparently turned into alien animals that promptly chocked on the ship's atmosphere. Unfortunately, the attacking creature, which presumably breathed the same air, didn't. Now, the alien had him trapped. Commander Jim's huge fleet of massive, fully automated production ships had reached the planet 3 of its 11-month-long years before. They had fusion-bombed most of the major population centres, dropped down drones that sprayed the entire place with huge amounts of defoliants, then landed attack robots that slaughtered the surviving natives and animals. The natives might have used the animals as food. Huge factories were set up. The planet was strip-mined. The pollution cores turned the seas into a toxic stew. The air became a poisonous smog. Here and there stood a few stone ruins bathed in acid rain. One of the planet's moons was an Earth-like unpeopled paradise. When Jim arrived, he planned to set up shop there. Hopefully, with his willing help, all his girls would be pregnant by the end of a Terran year. None of it was legal, nor was the pest control operation even strictly necessary. It broke all the Planetary Confederacy's conventions. The natives were sentient, small green furred bipeds with 4 arms and long pointed ears. At best, some had reached a tech level like 15th century Europe. It wasn't politically correct, but because the natives were mammalian pro-mammal prejudice would mean that if he got found out, he and the girls would spend the rest of their lives in jail. Fortunately, the system was so remote there was little danger. He would sell what the factories made on the underground market and make billions in adjusted credits. He was already rich, having inherited his money from his pops. Commander Jim and his wives had arrived a few Earth months before. A major civilization centre had been deliberately left partially intact. For RNR, he and the girls donned environment suits that were also power armour. As one of them put it, they then did an old-fashioned descended to the planet's surface heavily armed and massacred the natives by hand. The girls had looked spectacular in their battle kits. They were all like-minded people. Jim was old-fashioned and believed married people should have similar interests. That had been an Earth month ago. They'd been about to get into a shuttlecraft and go to the planet's moon when the alien had appeared literally in a puff of smoke. The thing had been horribly emaciated, its fur mangy looking. In places, its skin looked burned. It wore the remains of a black robe covered in what looked like stars and Babylonian crescent moons. A pointed black hat decorated the same. It held what looked like a small stick. All hell had broken loose. Now, square-jawed, 6-foot-tall commander, Jim cowered on the floor of storage room, before all 3 feeble, swaying, obviously dying but unstoppable feet of it. When it spoke, its voice wasn't even remotely human. But Commander Jim could understand every rage, hate, sorrow-filled word.
Cursed demon, foul monster, why when you had all the stars did thee covet our poor huts? Why didst you murder the world? I am Oxcastle, last high wizard of Clan Thummim Creel, of the city of flowers blooming under the cliffs, but flower blooming is no more. A blasted waste, rained on by rain that is now the essence vitriol. The children who laughed and danced on market days, who were content and clapped at a few paltry spells, are all dead. They died of hunger, because you did cause the crops to wither, and the beasts to die. You bastard, that you are hid behind the sky, and did rain devastation down upon us. It happened so fast, my brother mages and I could do but naught. My own dear wife, a powerful witch of the healing arts, is dead. She starved. We had passed beyond the storms of male and femaleness together, and were come to the time of friendship. I have striven and forced myself to stay alive, to bring vengeance upon you, monster. Now it shall fall upon you, for good and all. With my left hands, I bring it, a special spell. An old story grandames used to tell the children. A creature from our myths you will become. It has 2 heads. It tries to eat itself.
The wizard raised his wand. Commander Jim began to scream.
The episode shows us the horrors of colonialism and environmental destruction. Commander Jim's disregard for the native inhabitants and their planet led to catastrophic consequences. The surviving alien wizard's revenge reminds us that exploitation and cruelty can never be justified and will eventually lead to retribution. That's all for today. This is Nigel Watson. And you have been watching Tales from the Cryptkeeper, where AI meets unspeakable horrors.